All right, many thanks for staying with me. 2 years of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's bold reforms or broken promises, is what I'll be bringing to fall today. Is Nigeria's democracy thriving, or is the rule of law under siege? Today, I ask the hard questions and I demand real answers. I want to use this opportunity to welcome all those who are watching me across the states, to say welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Kike. I remain your convener, your executive producer, your host, name it. I wear many caps on this platform. My name remains Kike Atanda-Owo. I think it's important for us to hear what on this day in history segment as for us. When I return, I give my 2 cents on it. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. In today's age of global trade and digital marketplaces, its role is more critical than ever in combating, counterfeits, drugs, and unsafe consumables, strengthening its enforcement, and of course, its tech-driven monitoring, which is key to protecting modern consumers. I think that's my takeaway from on this day industry segment today. And I think it's important for us to get a quick message from my sponsors, those who have put me on this platform. When I return, I dive straight to the topic at hand. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, on May 29, 2023, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came into office on the premises or the promises of renewed hope, and days ago we marked 2 years of his leadership. The country's grappled with the ripple effect of bold reforms, from the fuel subsidy removal to the floating of the naira. We've seen rising inflation, insecurity concerns, and intensifying debates about the state of our democracy and the rule of law. So the big questions remain: is Nigeria better off 2 years into the Tinubu's administration? Are we still on democratic path? And are the constitutional principles of rule of law being upheld or undermined? On the live show today, I will be having real talk around the administration scorecard, exploring achievements, missed opportunities, and the road ahead towards 2027. We dive into the cost of governance, social-political decisions, and of course, the role of leadership in terms of accountability, and what Nigerians truly expect in the remaining years of this administration. My guest will be bringing is signature clarity and depth to unpack key reforms across the economy, infrastructure, education, national security, while also, scrutinizing the human impact of tough economic policies. But before we delve into real talk with my guest, I think it's important for us to play his profile. When I return, I will be speaking to him, or we will be listening to him together. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. Let me use this opportunity to quickly usher in my guest, Mr. Tope Ajayi. It's a pleasure to have you virtually on Real Talk with Kike today. How are you doing today, sir?
Good afternoon, madam. Good to be here.
Excellent afternoon. Many thanks for, for honoring us today. So let's just dive straight to the issue at hand. And I think that I would love to start from pounds. Pounds as at today is 2,200. What exactly are you doing right for Nigerians in the last 2 years? And I ask this question in pain because in the energy and petroleum sector as well, Nigerians buy fuel at 1,100 and some pay 5 times of what they pay for electricity bills. I'm speaking for myself right now. Regardless of the band that they belong to or where they think that they reside, what exactly are Nigerians benefiting from this administration?
That Nigeria is today not having a Venezuela-like or Zimbabwe-like economy is a major benefit that the Tinubu administration has made possible for Nigerians. The president inherited an economy that was not in the best shape. The president inherited 2 years ago an economy where there was fuel scarcity, that Nigerians were even praying to even buy at 3,000, 2,500 naira per liter, and you have to queue for days before you can even get to buy. We inherited an economy where there was a lot of challenges, and it was very obvious that the country could not go in same direction. And what President Tinubu promised during his campaign and even in his inauguration speech was to reset the economy, was to revamp the economy, was to retool the economy, to make it more productive, to have an economy that incentivizes production, to have an economy where that attracts local and foreign investment, to have an economy that creates real jobs, where people can earn good pay. And you cannot have this economy that he promised without realigning some of the priorities and the fiscals that were injurious to the health of the economy. So the president had the choice to either continue to kick the can around or to take a bold shot at fixing the problem. And what are these problems? And they are decade-long problems that started since 1973. And successive administration has not had the courage to bite the bullet. Why? Because of the danger of possible social cost, possible unrest, possible protest. And what is this problem? We have been hooked as a country and as a people on buying cheap fuel. And there's a cost to it. Averagely, we are spending over $10 billion in a year subsidizing fuel, where you need to have to fund education, where you need to fund healthcare, where you need to fund security, where you need to fund critical infrastructure, road, port, gas pipeline, petroleum pipeline, fiber optics across the country. This country requires, we need to lay 90,000 kilometers of fiber optics across the country. And you need, as of today, our infrastructure gap, we require to be able to fix our infrastructure. The World Bank and experts have put it that we require $30 billion annually for the next 30 years for us to even have a dent in our infrastructure gap.
All right.
So a country with this level of infrastructural decay a country that needs to spend more on primary education, on secondary education, on healthcare, can no longer afford to be spending $10 billion to subsidize fuel. And it's even more precarious. It's not that you are even borrowing money to even pay for the fuel subsidy. It is not that it's not that you even have the $10 billion of your own money. You are actually borrowing. So what it means is we are eating the future of our of children unborn, like the president has always said. So something had to give.
I hear you.
And the president took that decision to save the country.
All right, Mr. Tope, I hear you, and I'm very sure quite a number of Nigerians will disagree with your submission, because when you said the president is here to reset, to revamp and the likes and all of that, with all sorts of adjectives that you are using right now to restore economy and attract, local and foreign investors. This administration started campaigning towards 2027. Many Nigerians are asking. Some are even doubting. Let me put my thoughts out there. Some are doubting this administration being able to deliver their mandates or your mandate. I want you to please, delve into the reasons for this, the reason why you are here in terms of scoring this administration. However, on a yardstick from 1 to 10, in terms of scoring this administration after 2 years in office, how would you score this administration from 1 to 10 in 10 seconds? There's a reason why I'm asking you this.
Governance is always a continuous improvement.
How would you score this administration 1 to 10? I want you to pick a number. What will you pick that?
For stabilizing the economy, for pulling back the country from economic precipice and social precipice, to score the administration 7/10 at the moment. 7/10.
You say 7/10. I think this leads me to the next question. Maybe because you people are in the corridor of power. Mr. Tope, I must put it to you today that when you are saying that,
7/10.
Yeah.
I've answered your question.
Yeah, so when you are saying 7/10.
Internet.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, please? All right, can you hear me now? Are you there now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Fantastic. So what I was saying earlier is the fact that you are saying 7/10. Many Nigerians would disagree with you. But putting that aside, you mentioned earlier, just give me a minute. You mentioned earlier that the reason why this administration had to remove fuel subsidy is because they want to stop borrowing money to actually take care of that issue of fuel subsidy. However, there is fresh $24 billion borrowing that will spike Nigeria's debt to about 183 billion naira has been passed to the National Assembly's approval. I must ask you, you keep telling Nigerians that, let me speak please, you keep telling Nigerians that borrowing is good for our economy. Thus far, it is leading economic growth and development according. I will allow you speak. And the reason why I'm saying all of this is because many ministers have graced this platform. Many of those people who are in the corridor of power with you have graced this platform. I'm quoting most of the things that have been said. When Nigerians are coming from a generation that is sinking into debt slavery, I would like you to give me an elaborate thought on this issue of borrowing that is going to spike the unborn generation to come and pay.
I think we need to offer a clear perspective on issue of borrowing. The administration is not borrowing $24 billion or $21 billion. Under the fiscal responsibility law, there is the government is meant to be sent before the National Assembly its borrowing plan. So it is a plan. It is not that the government is going to borrow $21 billion, $24 billion tomorrow. And also, you need to also understand that it is not a federal government borrowing alone. It is a plan that has a borrowing plan for both the federal and the state government. So it's a 3-year borrowing plan. It is for planning. So the National Assembly, the president cannot be going to the National Assembly every quarter or every 6 months to say, this is what I want to borrow. So the law makes a provision for him for the president to present a borrowing plan. So what the president did was to present a 3-year plan that incorporates federal government borrowing plan and those of 36 states plus FCT. Don't forget that it is only the federal government that can borrow externally. So state government cannot borrow externally. It has to have what is called sovereign guarantee. Because World Bank, for example, AFDB, Islamic Development Bank, Japanese Development Agency, or French Development Agency, these are the multilateral institutions that we usually borrow money from, or from China. They are not going to give money directly to a state, no matter how lofty the project you want to spend the money on. So there is going to be a provision of what is called a sovereign guarantee. So under this plan, the federal government has incorporated the plan of every state into it. So it's presented to the National Assembly for them to review, to debate, and to approve. And the fact that you have a plan does not mean you are going to necessarily take the money, but it's good for planning, for you to have a plan. So that was what happened. So in actual fact, the current government is actually paying back Nigeria's debt. We just paid $3.4 billion IMF loan for COVID-19. We just paid, the federal government just redeemed over 300 billion Sukuk fund. So the government is actually paying down our debt. As we speak, the states are also paying down on their debt. The state government, 36 states and FCT, they have actually paid almost 60% down on their debt. And this is possible because of the policies on the removal of fuel subsidy, which saved more money, which made more money available to all the 3 tiers of government. Now, states can easily pay their workers' salary, they can easily pay pensioner, they can easily fund social services, education, and healthcare. Some of the governors are actually saying now that they are able to fund more development projects in the last 2 years than they did in 4 years. And this is all possible because the federal government, the President Tinubu, through his policies, has been able to create more fiscal headspace for all the tiers of government to operate. Don't forget, before now, most states could not pay their salary, they could not pay worker salary. But they can pay now, and they can even fund infrastructure. So these are the benefits, and it is also not correct to say that an opposition figure recently said, where are all the money that they said they saved from fuel subsidy removal? The money that was saved from fuel subsidy removal is the money that federal government is using, state government is using, local governments are using to be able to meet their obligations.
All right, I hear you loud and clear, and I think that your previous submission is taking me to this next question, when you also emphasize on attracting local and foreign currencies. You know, it takes me to the fact that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu recently dismissed the entire board of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, that's the NNPCL, you know, appointing new leadership to address long-standing issues of mismanagement and declining production. Given the NNPCL's, you know, pivotal role in Nigeria's economy, do you believe that this overall signifies a genuine commitment to reform, or is it more of a political gesture of replacing a northerner with a southerner? I'm just trying to keep it real on this platform. What structural changes are necessary to restore investors' confidence and ensure transparency in the energy sector?
And on the new management and board of NNPCL, globally and in Nigeria, there is nobody that is anybody in the oil and gas industry or in finance industry that has not applauded the choice of the management and board that were recently appointed by President Tinubu to NNPC. That is actually the best team that will ever be appointed in terms of technical know-how, in terms of expertise, in terms of industry knowledge, and in terms of global best practices. Somebody said, if the current management and board of NNPC cannot make NNPC and the oil and gas sector of Nigeria to perform at optimal level, then we may never get it right. We probably have to import people from the mass to come and help us run our oil and gas sector. Look at the board chairman, look at the MD, look at other board members and the other management team members. These are the best in class you can get anywhere in the world. These are guys that have run major IOCs at the highest level. So they have been called upon by President Tinubu to come and serve their country. The president actually specially is scouted for them. And it's the best you can get anywhere in the world. And they are settling down. We know that they have started taking the right decisions. They are doing their forensic examination of the system they inherited. They are putting a lot of structures in place. I'm sure they are barely 1 month in office. Let's give them 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, then we will see the miracle they are going to perform in that sector. But the president has given them all the necessary support they need. Just last week, the president signed a second executive order to further make the sector deliver more value to Nigerians and to the country. So oil and gas is critical to our economic well-being. NNPC is critical to that as a state-owned company. We want an NNPC that can compete with Saudi Aramco or with Petrobras or with PetroChina. We want an NNPC that will be a global player in the oil and gas industry. And with the current team and board and management, we are sure we are getting there. So we just continue to pray for them and wish them the best.
Let me ask you this before we go on a quick break, because the recent 70,000 minimum wage, or will I say minimum wage agreement, followed intense labor pressure and a general strike. You know, when you were talking earlier, you were talking about queuing at the fuel station, gas station, and the likes, and all of that. The strike has become a culture in our country. When we look at this critically, the Nigerian civil servant is just barely living by 46 pounds in a month, and probably less than $2 in a day in this rising inflation. Are we joking in our country? Are Nigerians joking right now with the issue at hand? I'd like you to, speak into this issue quickly before I go on a break.
Well, no, the fact that the government and the labor and the private sector employers had a tripartite agreement to increase the minimum wage to 70,000 from 35,000. Also, don't forget some states are paying 85,000. So it shows that some of these states are in a better fiscal position. Before now, some of them could not even pay the 30,000 minimum wage. Some of them even couldn't pay 18,000 minimum wage. But today, at least 10 states are paying higher than the national minimum wage, which is a plus. The truth of the matter is, we all recognize that as a result of fuel subsidy removal, floating of naira. There was a bump in the prices of goods and services, especially household items. So household income shrank, and it was the basis of that the president, the state government, private sector employers all agreed that there was a need, working with the labor unions, there was a need for an increment in national minimum wage. The truth of the matter is, no money will ever be enough. That is the fact. Otherwise, if money is enough, probably the richest people in the world, you don't have any reason to work again, but they are still working to make more money. So the good thing is, President Tinubu has promised that minimum wage by law should be reviewed every 5 years. But the president said, no, we don't have to wait for every 5 years to review minimum wage. We will be doing every 3 years. So it means that the period within which wages will be reviewed will be shorter than what it used to be. So I think we have made progress, and we'll continue to government will continue to work to provide other incentives that will make whatever is earned by workers to be able to have a better purchasing power. And also some of the things that they spend money on, government will be able to assist. One, government has introduced CNG, and also giving a lot of incentives for people to convert their petrol vehicles to CNG. And with CNG, if you convert your car or vehicle to CNG, you are going to be paying less than, your cost of running your car will be almost 60% cheaper than a petrol engine. So these are incentives that government is also providing. Government has made consumer credit available, especially for workers, for them to be able to access cheaper credit, to be able to buy cars and another household consumer goods that they will need. All of this is to retain money in their pocket, so they don't have to consistently look for cash to buy the things they need. Government has also made available a provision for student loan. So if you're a civil servant and you have 2 children in higher institution, you don't have to worry about how you are going to pay their fees and their living expenses. Government has made provision for that through the student loan, where the students who get loan, like it is done in other developed societies, you get loan to pay your school fees, and also government also give them living allowances. So that alone has removed burden on parents and guardians. So with that, you won't have to put pressure on your savings or on the money available on your disposable income. So all of this, government is expanding infrastructure on road. Government is providing better healthcare facilities. Today, cancer treatment is treating cancer in government hospitals has been slashed by 50% by government.
How many people have access to that? I ask in pain. But we'll go on a quick break, and when I return, the conversation will continue. Stay with me, I'll be right back. This is Real Talk with Kike. All right, glad to know you're still right there with us. In case you just tuned in, today's conversation is about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 2 years performance, the policy, and the path to 2027. And we are halfway through today's enlightening conversation with my guest, Mr. Tope Ajayi, and it's been a deeply, engaging session thus far with Mr. Tope Ajayi, which began by offering a balanced assessment of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's, policy decisions, the removal of fuel subsidies, unification of the forex regime. He noted economic rationale behind these bold reforms, but emphasized on the harsh, socio-economic impact on everyday Nigerians, particularly regarding inflation and the cost of living for Nigerians. I want to say many thanks to Tope Ajayi, the SSA on media relations, to Mr. President. I say many thanks again. For those who are watching me across the state, and you want to be part of this conversation, remember that you can call the studio number that is showing on your screen right now, 090-412-79932. Apologies, we just changed our numbers. And of course, we're streaming live on Facebook, on Silver platform, and on Real Talk with Kike platform. Many thanks for staying with me. So I'm coming to you, Mr. Tope. The recent attacks in Benue State now have resulted in significant loss of life, has worsened the ongoing farmer herders conflict, giving Benue's role as Nigeria's food basket. How do these conflicts threaten national food security? What comprehensive strategies should the government implement to address these root causes of these clashes and ensure that there's safety and safety and productivity of agricultural communities?
Well, the farmers' others clashes, and especially the current situation in Benue and Plateau State, is very sad. The president has extended his sympathies and condolences to the government and people of Benue and Plateau State. If you know very well, the issue of other farmers' clashes is historical, and there is history behind it. It has remained a blight and a really dark spot on our nation. And that is why the president is also addressing it holistically. It is not just, he doesn't want to have a band-aid approach to solving this problem. Like he's doing to different sectors of the economy. The president is taking a long-term view on how to ensure lasting peace in these communities. One, what is he doing? Immediately, about a year or more than a year ago, he set up a presidential committee on livestock reform that is co-chaired with him by former INEC chairman, Professor Atanda-Owo. So that committee sat for many weeks, went around the country, collected proposals and memoranda from different segments and affected communities. And after their deliberation, after the presentation of their report and their recommendation, it was identified that we need to have a standalone ministry that we, at policy level, that we address and deal with the whole issue of livestock development in Nigeria and animal husbandry. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Netherlands is making more than $100 billion annually from dairy products, from meat processing. And that is Netherlands, that is just a fraction of the Nigerian population. So the president created Ministry of Livestock Development with an experienced minister, a hands-on minister, to take charge. And just about 6 months ago, the president was in Brazil for G20 summit. A major part of his schedule in Brazil was meeting with different stakeholders in livestock development value chain. Now, the Brazilian government is partnering with Nigerian government to modernize the entire livestock value chain. And a company called GBS, you can Google it, that company, is the second largest meat processing company in the world. Nigerian government signed a deal with them where they are going to invest $2.5 billion in modernizing animal husbandry in Nigeria. Really, we need to move away from the pastoral method of rearing animals, taking cows or cattle, moving through land farms. Everywhere in the world where this has happened, it has always led to conflict. But over time, every country, America, United Kingdom, Ireland, Mozambique, South Africa, they have all gone through this same problem of farmer herders crisis at one point or other in their own history too. But the thing is, we can't continue to do the same thing because that is cultural practice. We can also change practices. We can change the way people live, the way people interact, the way people socialize, and the way we do business. Otherwise, I'm in Abuja now, but I'm talking to you live on your program, thanks to technology. So if technology can make our life better, then we can apply different methods to make animal husbandry better, more productive, and more engaging for our people, for farmers, and for others. So this problem is there. The security agencies are addressing it in terms of putting boots on, kinetic and non-kinetic approach and putting boots on the ground. But that is just a part of it. The most important is how do we turn this multi-billion-dollar sector to a national economic advantage, not to a national tragedy that it has become for more than 100 years. So that is what President Tinubu is doing. And like he said, this is a national tragedy that we are going to turn to prosperity. This sector can employ millions of people. Animal husbandry is let's talk, it's a huge multi-billion, I've just told you, Netherlands is making over $100 billion annually. That is 10 times more than what we are getting from crude oil. So it's a national problem. The president doesn't want to, he's not looking for a quick fix. He's not looking for, he doesn't want to be a populist president and just making platitudes. He wants to, he's delving into the root and he wants to solve a national problem. But what we can do at the moment is to continue to appeal to our people in these communities to show more tolerance to one another, farmers, others, law enforcement agencies in this area to make sure that communities are protected against marauders and invaders. It's really sad when people sleep in their houses.
Many thanks for that elaborate submission right there. I'm running out of time and I'm trying to, put a lot of thoughts out there quickly. I must ask you, because the All Progressive Congress APC, as of, when I use the word officially, is because of what is out there, has officially endorsed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for re-election in 2027, citing, his economic reforms and leadership. However, these reforms have also led to increased economic hardship for many Nigerians. I keep it real on this platform. I would love you to tell me how a person who is paying for fuel now at the cost of almost 1,000 naira, from a previous price of 195 naira, from having electricity power at cheaper tariffs to not having electricity power at higher tariffs, can contemplate voting for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2027. In 1 minute, if it's possible, please. In a minute.
The alternative, honestly speaking, I'm being frank here. If you read the statement of the president on May 29, some of these decisions in the real sense of it, are not palatable to make. But like the president said, the alternative to not making them, the alternative, you don't even want to imagine it. Because is the president has a holistic view of the state of the economy of this country more than anybody. I think you should take that to the bank. Nobody is better informed about any aspect of this country today than a sitting president. Because all the paraphernalia of state, all the institutions of state are available to him, and they give him reports.
All right, I hear you.
The thing is, the president is doing what it needed to be done to make life better for this country, not in the short term.
Okay. Let me come to speed. Apologies, I'm trying to manage time right now. This will be my last question to you because of time, because I need to move to the last segment of the show. The Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, amongst other infrastructure. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me loud and clear? Are you there? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mr. Tope? Are you there? Okay, all right. I think I have to quickly move to the...
I'm back.
Okay, you're back. Oh, fantastic.
I'm back.
Yes, I want to quickly ask you, this will be my last question to you before we move to the last segment of the show. The Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, among other infrastructural projects that have sparked both praise and protests, particularly regarding its costs and alleged lack of transparency, according to people. We have only been able to cover 30 kilometers from an enormous project of this kind. And I'm wondering, okay, quickly, in 1 minute, what's your take on this? In a minute, what's your take on this?
People see, a project of that magnitude, nobody expects, no rational person will expect that it will be done in 1 year. It's a huge civil engineering project. And globally, projects can be commissioned in phases at every milestone. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong in commissioning a milestone. It's a global standard. So politics aside, and as a matter of fact, there is no society where everybody will agree on the same thing, where everybody will praise a government or praise a program or a policy. There are people that are not ideologically opposed to anything President Tinubu does. It doesn't matter even if that thing saves their lives. But because they are just professional critics, they don't have to say what they have to say.
Oh, really?
But that does not make it right.
All right.
So, the Lagos-Calabar Highway project is proceeding, and it's also not true that only 30 kilometers have been done. As we speak, work is going on 167 kilometers. 167 at 3 different points. In Akwa Ibom, there's a section in Akwa Ibom, a section in Cross River.
All right, unfortunately, I might have to wrap up the show right now. Definitely, I will be bringing you back on the show because we have a lot to still discuss. But I want to say many thanks for creating the time to do this with me. But before I let you go, there's a last segment of the show that we call Trending Stories. These are stories that binds us as Nigerians, and this is where I, as a host, have an opinion. And the first trending story that caught my attention is that of the 21 Kano athletes, returning from Gateway Games that died in auto crash. And first off, this news is truly heartbreaking when I heard. And as a Nigerian, I feel, I'm deeply pained knowing that young, vibrant athletes, full of dreams and potentials, lost their life just after representing their state and country these were not just, athletics. They were sons, they were daughters, they were siblings, they were friends, mothers, fathers, people with hopes for tomorrow. It's difficult to imagine what their families are going through right now. I pray God gives them the strength and comfort, and from a safety angle, this tragedy, raises serious questions for me. Why are we still losing lives on our roads like this? Our roads are not just bad, they are deadly. Many of our bridges lack railings, proper lightings, warning signs. Buses used for long-distance travels are often not roadworthy. We must do more than money. We must demand change. It's time for the government at all levels, prioritizing road safety. And that includes, regular maintenance of vehicles, transporting people across long distances, through training for drivers, strict enforcement of speed limits and bridges. We cannot continue to lose our best and brightest to something preventable accidents. May the souls of these departed rest in peace. May God heal and, I don't know, sometimes I just truly wonder why I'm Nigerian. Because I really don't look like Nigerians. Quickly, and it's sad. It's not a funny matter, but, I just pray that there's a quick comfort for every grieving heart in Kano and beyond, and this should never happen again. Before I come to you, Mr. Tope, let me take the second trending that you can give your submission on both. And the second trending story for me is who did PDP make in Lagos? Wicked questions Bode George. And I know that, Mr. Bode George has been one of my guests on this live show many times, but Nigerians have their reservations about Wike concerning his role in Rivers State politics. But on this, I choose not to be biased. The facts are clear. We may not, or we may have our own reservations about Wike, but let's give him his credit. As a Nigerian observing the political space, I believe Wike has every right to defend his contributions to PDP. He made a valid point. He cannot dismiss the role individuals play in building political parties. It's not the name of the party that wins election. It's the people, it's the strength, it's the strategy, it's the sacrifices. So if Wike is claiming that he labored hard for PDP, so be it, especially in Rivers State, where the party became a force under his leadership. He has earned his bragging rights. When Chief Bode George accused Wike of being ungrateful, saying the party made him, Wike responded with facts. If truly the party makes people, then why haven't PDP produced any strong federal representative in Lagos since 1999? That's a fair question. I think I'm putting on the table for PDP or party to go and ponder on. It's a fair question. Wike's point is clear. It's individuals who give a party its life and successes, not the other way around. Yes, the party platform is important, but it's the dedication of individuals like Wike and the likes that keeps the party relevant, especially in the tough political climate. Wike campaigned, mobilized resources, even defended the PDP when others were silent at the time. His track record speaks for itself. I don't want to bring bias and the likes or whatever challenges we people have with him, in as much as I agree with him on so many issues, but I just have to keep it real on this platform and just stay true to the issue at hand. Politics should not be about respect for impact and result. If we ignore those who build, we risk destroying what was built. Rather than condemning Wike, the PDP should just acknowledge the efforts and learn from his boldness. Let's stop rewriting history. Though his boldness can come with a lot of shenanigans, I just feel that people are bound by different parties, not the other way around. And in Wike's case, he claims he has built this stronghold in Rivers State. Facts don't lie. Let's keep it real. Let's give him his, I don't know if I should say flowers right now. Unfortunately, I don't want them to yank me off. I think this is where I draw the curtains of the show. I cannot ask for my guest's opinion right now, but I want to say many thanks to my guest, my resourceful guest, Mr. Tope Ajayi, SSA to Mr. President. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, for lending your voice on issues that affect us all as Nigerians. My name remains Atanda-Owo. Abati. See you next time.